What's up, Empire Builders? Welcome to another video. Today we're going to go through the daily email. In case you missed these or you just want to hear me talk through these, or you don't get a chance to read them and you'd rather just listen to me talk through it, doesn't really matter the reason. Glad that you're here. Take a quick second, like the video. This is a brand new channel that we're starting. We need your help to grow this. And the likes and comments and all the silly stuff that you think doesn't matter actually does. And of course, if you like this content, share it around with your friends. That will improve and increase our subscriber base. Thank you so much. All right, let's dive in. Hidden Black Swan events. The original concept of the Black Swan event, or the Black Swan theory, was dubbed by and created by Nassim Talib, something like that. Anyways, he's the anti-fragile guy. He's got a lot of books. Really interesting guy to listen to. Follow him on Twitter. Actually posts a lot of pretty interesting things. Doesn't really get in too many social media fights. Every once in a while he does, but it's much more worth it than the average person, I guess. Anyways, really interesting guy. A lot of people have read it, his other books like Anti-Fragile, but Black Swan theory is another theory that he writes and talks about. And it's basically this outlier that nobody thought would affect this micro outlier that nobody thought would affect the macro. And then it does, and it affects it in a huge way that nobody thought possible. So a great example of this would be the subprime mortgages themselves during the 2009 financial crisis. In March 2008, investors basically did the equivalency of a bank run on Bear Stearns, and that was after they figured out that they were holding a ton of bad assets and bad debt, most notably mortgage-backed securities and subprime loans, right? And that started the domino effect. So by September, it had hit its well beyond its tipping point, and it was affecting other banks as well. Lehman Brothers, which ended up falling later on, and JP Morgan got the sweetheart deal on taking over that silver short that they had for the longest time. But anyways, Black Swan events could affect this looming 2020 recession, and that's why I bring all this stuff up. Some of these might not actually be Black Swans. I might not actually feel that way, but the public does. And people do, so that's why I'm talking about it. So, all right, here we go. The first one, the removal of the debt ceiling itself. The debt ceiling has been removed. Now there's this infinite expansion that is occurring, which has been occurring through money printing, but now you remove the debt ceiling and the debt can just go up as much as it wants to. There's no real stopping that. And it's already gone up $1 trillion in the last year when they thought that would actually take 2 years, and over $360 billion in the last couple months when they thought that would, again, take much longer. So the fact that there is now no limit to this, I think, could escalate things, and it could be a black swan. The Fed itself, through interest rate cutting and manipulation and QE, it could absolutely be triggering a black swan event. So QE is quantitative easing, and it was rolled out in 2008 or 2009 by Ben Bernanke, everyone's favorite Fed chair. And it was meant to be a temporary fix for the financial crisis. Well, we are now entering into QE4, which is the fourth iteration of them basically money printing. We had QE1 hitting, I think, tail end of 2009, QE2 hitting 2011, QE3 somewhere in 13, and now QE4 hasn't officially been launched or kicked off, but a lot of people, myself included, believe that QE has started again. So QE3 ended back here in 2015 sometime. Quantitative tightening is the adverse of that, or burning of money, removing of money from the money supply, and that has stopped in the middle of this year, 2019. So quantitative easing itself, printing money, is a bad thing to do. The reason why is because it destroys the value of the earnings. It destroys the value equation in a lot of ways, and it 100% diminishes purchasing power. That combined with interest rate manipulation and talking about negative interest rates, that could have that could wreak havoc on an economy, and that could absolutely be turned into a black swan event. The Hong Kong protests. So what's going on with Hong Kong's economy as a whole is concerning as a black swan event, because the protests and what those represent, those are negatively affecting the currency itself, the Chinese yuan, and it's negatively affecting the Hong Kong stock market and the Chinese stock market, which is adversely affecting other markets. One could argue that not even the Eurozone stock stock markets and the European stock markets matter as much as US and China. Those are really the two primary markets that people pay attention to. And so whatever you could imagine could negatively happen to China or the US would affect that as well. Yeah, the Hong Kong protests, because those are now starting to take have a negative effect on the Chinese markets. Okay, we saw this where the yuan had slipped over $7 peg, so they had to repeg it to 6.996 later on that week, and this all happened within a 2-3 day period. All right, so that is obviously already affecting international markets and will continue to. The Eurozone conflict, there's a lot going on in Europe right now. It's pretty hard to keep track of just because it's, I feel like going back just to 2012, you would write a 100-page book and you really wouldn't accomplish much. But you would talk about a lot of dates and things said and directions they were supposed to go, but then ultimately not a lot of change that came out of that. So it's a tricky topic, and I know why. I think that's why I've avoided a lot of the reason why, and why other analysts avoid it as well. But here's what's going on right now. Germany is in bad shape. They're preparing for economic stimulus. The ECB is. UK is looking to leave the European Union or the EU. If they can't come up with a Brexit deal by October of this year, they will be gone and they will be leaving. And so I ultimately think this is a good thing. Short term, it's going to be a little painful, but long term, I think it's smart. Trying to get everyone under one common system, ruling under a queen, all these things are very strange to me. Having a monarch, I don't know, it just seems a very old, outdated theory. And I just don't know why people accept that, right? I think it's comfort at this point, and because people think it'll be much worse if they leave and much worse if they try and change versus staying. And that's usually what keeps people sedated, right? So there's that going on, but there's also record high amounts of violence in London and Sweden. All you got to do is tune into really any, I guess you could say, conservative thinker in those countries, and you'll get a full scoop on what's going on. I mean, we're talking videos uploaded to social media every single day showing some really, really horrifying things, actually, because there's no guns out there, but they have knives, and they have big ass knives, kitchen knives, and there's just a lot of really bad things going on out there. So keep them in your prayers for sure. Okay, Argentina currency collapse. It's on the brink of collapsing right now. The issue and the difference between this and, let's say, Venezuela, that's going through hyperinflation right now and has been all year, well, actually has been for the last year, I believe is when that almost just about when that started, was last June or July. The difference is that the IMF earlier this year just gave Argentina $56 billion in a loan. And now, just the other day, came out and said that this is embarrassing and that they're embarrassed. But Argentina is on the brink of collapse. I think that would put their bond value at about 40 cents each. And that could be a black swan event. The US dollar global reserve currency status that we heard just recently being talked about at the Jackson Hole Central Banker Summit, they want to change this. They're sick of the United States dollar being the reserve currency. They want something different. They either want the SDR basket, or they want the Chinese yuan as the primary currency, or their own. They even talked about the Libra, and they talked about a digital currency being the front and pegged to a fiat backing, which makes total sense. They've talked about this for a long time, them wanting to do this dual currency, and this dual currency would allow them infinite amounts of bail-ins without the general public really realizing what was going on until they wised up to economics, realizing that every time the peg changed, they would be losing huge amounts of money. But I guess it's better than what they were doing in 2002 when Cyprus basically overnight decided to steal 30% of their people's money out of their bank accounts. I think that's a little bit softer way to go about it, but one can't deny the fact that if this global reserve status, depending on how they make this shift, if this even occurs, that will have negative effects, and that could be the black swan event that starts the dominoes. Student loan debt, it's currently at 1.56 trillion. And 11.5% of total student loans are 90 days or more delinquent, or they're in default, aka ruining credit scores. They're not making payments, so they're dealing with higher amounts of stress, and debt in general is pretty high amongst consumers in the United States. That adds to, like I said, cortisol, which adds to stress, which adds to weight gain, which adds to poor food choices, which adds to more health problems. That whole thing in and of itself could be a black swan. But even though there's talks of a student loan forgiveness program, which I don't agree with, unless you can figure out a way to hold those people accountable so that they learn something. Accountability is a big piece, and nobody likes it. Nobody likes it until after they realize what it's done for them positively. So it's kind of like one of those things like check back in down the road and see how that shaped and shifted their life. But for the most part, at surface value, of course, everyone wants something easy, and everyone wants freebies, and everyone wants something for free. That is called socialism. So student loan debt. Wealthy people stop spending money. We talked about this yesterday. The wealthy have already been pulling back on spending and allocating more towards savings. But right now, the middle earners are picking up for that slack with their spending. That is a delicate situation there, because all it would take is a rise in unemployment, a slight rise in unemployment, and the middle earners would be cut out completely. Because middle earners and let's call it the middle class is always two steps or one disaster away from being in a poor category or closer to the poor category. And again, if you just look at all these pieces, and what I miss completely in this, and I put that I'm sure I'm going to miss something. I miss the fact that the China-U.S. trade wars. Now, I think that's a fairly obvious one, but it should have still been in this list. And any of these one things by themselves are a strong enough event to cause a domino effect. But now you've got so many of these out there. We don't have as bad as a housing issue right now in terms of mortgages and how those are bundled together in different investment vehicles and A rating, B rating, C rating. Like that's what got us into trouble before with the subprime stuff. That's not as bad as it was from my understanding back then. But there are a lot of economies going through challenging times right now. Vancouver's going through a housing challenge and a housing crisis. San Francisco and California is going through a mini housing crisis. So is New York. And what I mean by that is housing prices are high. People really can't afford to be living there. So not only are huge amounts of people leaving the state, but they're living in more of a tight economic situation. You've got problems going on in Asia. Growth problems, currency problems. China's got its own problems as well, which is one of the bigger economies out there. But there's also rift between China and Singapore and Vietnam and Indonesia and a couple other countries out there over the East China Sea and who should get rights of this previously designated unlocked open area that nobody really owned. China's trying to once again take that back. So they are kind of poking around at quite a few things. Some positive things is that they're opening back up and trying to expand this Silk Road, this one Silk Road throughout Europe. Italy's already on board. They've been talking with Russia and they're on board. So that makes a lot of people nervous because people think that China's teaming up with Russia and Italy and Europe and they're going to cut out the United States from trade. I don't think that's what that is. It doesn't need to be anyways. China is a big provider of product. And so right now, it's quite hard for them to get that over to Europe. Europe, one of their primary GDP drivers is exports. So why wouldn't we want to open that up? I think that's just a good thing. With the planet and how populated it's getting, I don't think you have to really worry about this guy's going to take away, this guy's competition, he's going to take away all my money. That is a very silly thought, if you couldn't tell by my hesitation there. It's a very silly thought because it assumes that there's only so much to go around, and once that's gone, it's gone, and that's not true. There's always enough for everybody. So we've got a lot on the plate, right? And then we've got European issues. We've got South Africa has its own issues with their own kind of civil war brewing. South America has its own issues, which they're trying to pump all their problems through South America into the United States through illegal immigration. Finally, Mexico is starting to stop that, has troops at the border, and they're trying to hold other countries now accountable for that. So there's a lot of things going on. And like I said, each one of these pieces is enough in and of itself to cause a disaster and to start the dominoes. But now you've got them going on all over the world, which is why it's so easy for analysts to say, yep, it's going to go really bad really quick. Okay, I ended this email with a very special offer, and I want to share that with you today if you've got a minute. This is the very first time we've ever run a sale. Let that sink in. The very first time we've ever run a sale on one of our yearly programs. We have two. The one I'm going to talk about today is the Empire Intelligence Alerts yearly membership. It's usually $465, but through this weekend for Labor Day, we have 35% off. That's $166. You are only paying $299 for a whole year. That is less than $1 a day to get access to a bunch of upgrades. And I'll share those with you in just a second. But less than $1 a day. Can you believe that? Okay, so let me share with you what you get access to, and then I'm going to actually give you a quick walkthrough of the Discord channels and the membership area itself. Sound fair? Okay, so you get access to 8 more channels in a Discord. You get access to premium reports, like the Q2 Gold report I just put out, which is jam-packed with data. Like, look at what I put into these emails, and look at what I've put into the free reports, and just extrapolate that out, assume a much bigger report, and that's what I put into the premium stuff. Like, for example, the Gold report is 15 pages, jam-packed with data, from going all the way back to 2018. All the various aspects, and even getting into TA and what you should be buying with Gold. The only thing I don't break down is where. And the reason why is because I just didn't want to show bias, okay? So, Global Reset Report, 60 pages, jam-packed with an entire timeline of every single aspect of GDP and every single aspect of the U.S. economy and how that's affecting this potential 2020 recession, as well as the future, space, and the Space 2.0 race, as well as what I think is going to happen. Okay, so that is probably my favorite report I've ever written. Okay, Hong Kong report, just a quick 10-page report talking about what's going on there and the effects that that's having. We have a report that's in the works that I'll be launching this weekend, which is the Eurozone report. Those 4 reports I've written in August. So I'm pushing out 2 to 4 reports every single month. Premium reports with a shitload of research gone into them. I really don't think you can get this anywhere else. I don't look around, so I don't know for a fact. But now the other thing that you get access to is you get access to quarterly Q&A webinars that we do, where you can ask me anything you want. And you get discounts to future events and programs. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, and it's because it's not done, that's why I put it last, is right now we have version 1 of the Bulletproof Portfolio, which is simply what I believe to be the ultimate portfolio strategy. The key issue with it is it's very dumbed down version. It is very much a starting point, and it just talks about the what. Doesn't talk about the how, doesn't talk about the why, doesn't talk about the where. Now, the next version that I'm working on will be selling for $997, and it will be a huge version, a full version. And you will get free access to that when it's ready, which will be later this year, before Christmas. So you'll get free access to that, and that will serve as the foundation, the manifesto of the entire Empire community. So just in that one thing alone, it covers the cost, more than covers the cost of the membership, even at regular price. But you get access to everything else. Okay, so let me show you. Here's a full breakdown of it here. Did I miss anything? Oh, I do post positions of my trades regularly in the alerts Discord channel. Updates, flash updates whenever something breaks out. Like the Hong Kong, as that broke out, that situation, boom, I wrote the report and had it out within that week. And yeah, okay, cool. So intelligence reports, portfolio, global reset report. Let's go into the members area. Video is now loading, but there's a welcome video here. Oops, let's see if I can't hard refresh this and get this to show up. There we go. Welcome video, Global Reset Report version 3. I've now updated it 2 times, and the last version was just put out yesterday, so this isn't updated. But version 3 now, and I will continue to update that as new data is released, and I'll probably just get sick of doing that at some point, so I'll probably just make a new report. The Bitcoin report, which you have access to for free as a regular Empire community member. Bulletproof Portfolio. Here's all the alerts and reports that I've pushed out since then. And yeah, last update 20. That's showing the last update 24th. Okay, so Hong Kong report last updated August 7th, and QT Gold report updated yesterday, September. So 3 reports this month. The Eurozone will fit into September, and then I can't go through this here because it's got the call information, and I can't share that with you. But this is where all the previously recorded videos, webinars, and bonus videos are, as well as upcoming webinars and videos that you can register for. So yeah, that's pretty lightweight, right? Most of the action is happening in here. So here's what we're doing this weekend, this sale here. So here it is all under EIA members. Look at this: alerts, macroeconomy, precious metals, book club, entrepreneurship, mindset, physical fitness, marketing, and advertising. So this is like where I share a lot more of my expertise. So yes, we talk macroeconomy, but I have experience generating over $6 million in sales and running my own digital marketing agency and making money online and doing these other things. And I've obviously gone through my own journey, my own struggles, entrepreneurial wise, my own demons, and figured out some certain things that I think are insanely beneficial, especially if you're just starting out or early on in your journey. But even if you're advanced and you're running a $5-10 million a year company, business, portfolio, there's a ton of gold in here. Okay, I'll share a couple channels with you. And so here you go. You can check out the different gold reports that I pushed out. And then, actually I can't scroll up and share that with you. I do actually share different investment opportunities that come my way through my private network. I share those with EIA members and give you guys an opportunity and a chance to follow up with those people and make those, get involved in those investments as well. Here is the news feed for macroeconomy. You see it's much different than what we give for free, and a lot of this stuff I never share outside of this room, but it's all the additional data and graphics that I'm finding I share in here. Precious metals, gold, silver breakdowns. So as there's more countries and central banks accumulating gold, TA, all that shared in here. You see just data every single week. Not every day, but every single week. Okay, so yeah, those are the additional channels that you get access to, and then you get discounts. You get discounts on future things that we do. So hopefully that's enough to persuade you to take action on this discount and give us a try for $299 for 12 months. There is a special link underneath this video that will take you to a specialized checkout page. Let me just show you that really quick. Here's what that page looks like. Labor Day weekend sale for just 82 cents per day. That's right. Gives you a breakdown again of what you're getting access to. $299, pay with PayPal, credit card right there. If you wanted a cryptocurrency option, you can just DM me or email empireresearch@protonmail.com and we'll get you sorted away. But as soon as you sign up, you will be immediately redirected to register for the members area and you'll get instant access. I'll unlock you to the other Discord channels and you're in business, my friend. That's all I've got for you. If you like this video, take a second, click the like button. Got something to say, comment below, subscribe, hit the bell notification. Be on the lookout. More videos dropping soon, friends. Bye.